I can almost hear you thinking to yourselves, good God, what is this lunatic done now? And you're right. It's a mess, isn't it? Look at it. All over the shop. It's been a few weeks since I last did a video. I think a fortnight ago I said it was closed for engineering work. Well, it sort of still is, because there's no complete track. Now, there was a very good reason for this, and it all concerned the pasting table. If we walk round here, you'll see now that the edges are fairly level. But on previous occasions, pasting table has always been about half an inch higher than the main baseboard. So the other weekend, my two eldest grandsons came round with their electronic equipment, and they chopped the legs of the pasting table so it now matches the height, and I can start to think now about putting down the new track and actually starting to build something permanent. I did discover one mistake that I'd made though, and that is that on this outer loop I'd rather stupidly put in a second radius curve there, wherever my finger is, yes, there, instead of a third radius. I've now put that right, and actually it makes a much better way into the platform. Hopefully not such a sharp curve, and I won't have rolling stock colliding with the platform edge. And I've got a piece of equipment that's going to help me when I put the main layout down. Now, where am I? There we are. Doesn't look much, but this is a track gauge for Pico, and I'm using Pico Cetrac. So what it does, you put your two bits there inside the track, and that gives it a scale 6 foot. The 6 foot between the outer running rail of the outer running rail of one line and the inner running rail of another. If we were using a different sort of track, you would find that the gaps would have to be much larger, and I don't know why that is, but there we go. So I've got a lot more careful thinking now, because the next time I put down these buildings is going to have to be the permanent layout. In the meantime, I've got a couple of platform canopies to build, and I've now got the stuff to do it. But of course you also like to see unboxings as well, don't you? And I've actually had a delivery in the past couple of weeks. One is something which really every modeller has got to have, and that's a soldering iron, because I've got to start soldering. I've got these Pico power connecting clips, which are very, very good. Unfortunately, what it means is I've got to solder wires to the end of here from the control. I need some solder to do that, and I'm waiting for stock to come in from Gauge Master. It was out of stock when I ordered. Another thing I've done, but I'll keep this back for next time. I've got one sound synthesizer for non-DCC steam loco, but I bought this one that fits into a diesel multiple unit, and we'll have a go at fitting that during the next fortnight. We'll show you the results later. Got some plastic glue for doing the canopies. Oh yes, there's the when you have DCC fitted separately, they always send you the decoder box with the blanking plate in it. So that's the blanking plate, because I got an offer I couldn't refuse again. Rails of Sheffield was selling the 07 shunters at half price. And so with the cost of putting the DCC chip in, I still got it at £100 or more less than I would have paid perhaps even 4 or 5 months ago. And I also got hold of another wagon. So anyway, I'll do the usual unboxing, and do join me for that. I think first up had better be the Dapol bogie bolster wagon. I'm actually very pleased to say that Dapol are producing a lot more of their wagons now, actually in the UK. Hooray! Not sure that this one is a UK one. I don't think they actually state where it's made. No, they don't. Trying to do this with one hand tied behind my back almost. Oh, yeah. You get the usual little pack of different close couplings and what have you. Where are we? There we are. There. I've got a bit of a selection of different wagons. This is known as steam bauxite delivery, and I think it's got, well, hopefully it has Western Region lettering and that on it, but it's obviously very small in scale. These bogie bolster wagons were lightweight vehicles, but they'd be used for carrying flat loads like timbers and pieces of rail and what have you. For bigger loads they had bogie well wagons that I've tried to get together a small collection of goods wagons representing the various different types. I'll never have one of every single one, there's just too many. But I've got enough now to probably run 2 or 3 trains of different types, plus of course enough coaches to run express passenger, local passenger, diesel multiple unit, etc. So I'm well stocked up. I suppose one of the things I should think about is a set of storage cases. I know they're worth more in the boxes for future sale, but can't always keep boxes. And provided you get properly tailor-made display cases or storage cases, I can't see a problem, and you can store the stuff easier. But I'm now getting on to the Class 07. You can see me fumbling with the box here. Up to daisy, there we are. Ruston and Hornsby Class 07, there we are. And that's an instruction booklet about it. The diesel electric shunting locomotive. Now, in order to tell you about the 07, we need to talk Southampton docks and the USA. Because after the war, when trade started taking off again, British Railways found that their ancient locos that they've been using in Southampton docks were just worn out. And as luck would have it, having been in storage since 1943-44, a quantity of shunting locomotives supplied by the United States Army Transportation Corps, mainly for onward sending to their theatres of war in World War II, there were 14 of these locos built by the Vulcan Works in the United States that Oliver Bulleid felt would be just right to replace his older locomotives for Southampton Dock Works, because at the time there was 80 miles of track work just in the docks alone. So between there and Eastleigh, he procured 14 of these locos. I have been told by other sources that these little tank locos were designed with a life expectancy of 6 months. there are now quite a few preserved, and many were used abroad. We've got 2 of them on the Kent and East Sussex Railway that were named Mawson and Wainwright by the Southern Railway. And then of course they needed replacement. And British Railways looked again at what is going to be best to replace the USA tanks. They looked at the 04s and they looked at the Class 12s. But between the 2 of them, they were either perhaps a bit too powerful, or not powerful enough in certain circumstances, wrong wheelbase, etc. So they had a batch designed for them and built by Ruston, and these were classified as Class 07. And there were, I believe, 14 of these. They were funny little ones. They suffered from one dreadful fault. Every time they started running at relatively high speed, they ran hot axle boxes. And so were probably the only class of diesel that, when needed to go long distances for overhaul, they couldn't just have their coupling rods removed and be sent in a train consist. They had to go by road. Some of them were fitted with piping to allow them to work with electric multiple units, but again, getting to the speeds required caused them to have hot axle boxes, so they very rarely moved. I think there's 4 or 5 preserved, and my brain excludes it. But at the front, there were mainline marker lights. What am I doing? Have I got it? Yes, I am showing you the front. I think they will light up because I've got the DCC. There's front, and there's the rear. Very rarely used, again, because of the problem with running hot axle boxes. But they're a very unusual design with this off-centre layback cab. These replaced the USA tanks in 1962. But by 1977, they were all gone off the railways, and all bar one went into industrial use. This is quite a nice model. It's got all the different bits and pieces fitted, including, you might notice on the corner here, I'm trying to get it against a clear background. Where is it? I've lost it. Oh no, here it is. I've got my finger on it, just there. There is an aerial for the radio system they used within, there's my handshake again, within the Southampton docks. So anyway, that's the 07, that's my newest unboxings. As I say, I got this for over £100 less than it would have been 5 or 6 months ago, so I'm well pleased with that. The only thing is to try it out and see if it works. In which case, do you know, that's not a radio mast, it's my eyes playing me tricks. No, it's a handrail. There is a radio mast here, but can't see it at the moment. I do apologise. That's definitely my eyes playing tricks. I haven't got my glasses on, that's what it is. Anyway, I'm going to have to put some track down to make at least one circuit up, and I'll be back when I've done that and you can have a proper look at it running. Well, I would have liked to have run the 07, but I seem to have run into a major problem with my DCC controller. It's all working all right, but there's no power getting to the track. If I've got a unit failure in the transformer unit, that's going to be a very expensive replacement. I'm unlikely to get a brand new DCC control unit for much under £200. hopefully that won't be necessary, but in the meantime you'll want to see a loco running. So I very quickly hooked the circuit up to my analog controller, 12 volt DC, and I've got out of the dungeon somewhere, I've got a loco I bought second hand some time ago. Now, many of you will know I'm a great fan of the Western Region diesel hydraulics, and I think the Western Class 52 diesels are some of the nicest looking locos that ever run on British railways. Now, this is an old one. I mean, you can buy a new Western and with DCC sound for nearly £300. This one, its purchase price in the shop was £29.50, which shows how old it is. She runs a bit growlery, whatever adjective you like to use, but I just thought you might like to see her running. So here goes. She comes. Lovely, graceful lines. And now I'll send her the other way for a couple of turns. There we go. There we are. Sorry the programme has sold you short a bit this week. There may be no unboxings for a little while, depending on what's going on, but I've got to make a start on working out where the final track is going to go. Yeah. Well, it will be a bit of an adventure, so let's see what we can do next time, shall we? In the meantime, from a very disappointed me, and bye to you for now.